Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Crypto Gold. Today we're going to be covering what in my opinion is one of the best ERC20 tokens on Binance, and I can't think of a better way to introduce this wonderful product to you, if you haven't heard of it already, with this amazing promotional video they made. Check it out, guys. Alright, liking the music, setting a good tempo. Airport's obviously relevant. Oh guys, there it is, blockchain. That's the word. It's gonna change the world, and it's gonna make us rich. Blockchain, guys.
Years, but aircraft are still crashing.
After 100 years, we're still crashing. Oh my god, guys, we gotta step up our flying game.
Why passengers are afraid to fly. As a pilot, I'm very concerned about this. Together with a team of aviation engineers and innovators, we invent a blockchain solution, a single service for pilots,
blockchain solution. Blockchain, guys, it can solve everything. Seriously, blockchain. It's just gonna change everything. It's gonna make us rich. I mean, change the world, and I can't wait for blockchain.
Flying safer. The future of aviation technologies
Dude, just speak German. There's nothing wrong with subtitles.
Really make it happen.
Voice dubs are just saving people's lives and giving them Lambos.
Saving people's lives.
Now this is the part I want you to watch closely. And trust me, it's relevant for later, as they put a lot of money into marketing, or so they say. Perhaps we could have foregone the overly obnoxious chatting and voiceover. For a project that's so marketing focused, you just think that they would have picked this up as being maybe something they shouldn't have posted, but it's their project. Alright guys, all jokes aside, this is Crypto Crap, where we analyze, in my opinion, what are the worst projects in cryptocurrency. There's a lot of obvious ones out there, but there's a ton of higher profile projects that have a bunch of people fooled, and that's what I'm looking to cover here. So let's get right into Aeron. Aeron is aviation safety on the blockchain. Aeron's solution relies on blockchain technology to track aircraft maintenance and pilot logs. Aeron is constructing a database in an online system that is decentralized, hosting global data on aircraft, flight schools, and pilots. This electronic logging system would force pilots to have logs that reflect accurate flight hours, making aviation safer for everyone involved. The Aeron utility token will be incorporated into Aeron products. It helps to enhance product usage, allow contributions to the ecosystem, product access, and ownership. Aeron is bootstrapping engagement. While the token will enable access to valuable features within the Aeron platform, it won't be limited by the Aeron mobile applications. Now this is a common theme in blockchain, which is database on blockchain, which actually isn't that advantageous in that blockchains as a database solely are actually pretty slow, as Andreas Antonopoulos pointed out recently. There are some blockchains that are looking to develop fast syncs, like Neblio, but if you're using Ethereum in its current stance, and of course I think Ethereum's going to scale, it's actually my favorite protocol, then you're looking at what is a clogged, expensive, and slow database. Immutability has its advantages, but I don't think the aviation industry really needs this right now. And what I mean by that is flying is actually getting safer. Every year, there's less crashes, and pilots are becoming more confident as globalization expands and training improves. So the demand for a more secure and better database, I just don't really think is there. And another point, if you've read Truth Machine by Paul Vigna, which is an excellent book by the way, just came out recently, then you'll know that database on blockchain, even though being immutable, has a lot of problems. One of the things that Aeron is looking to eliminate is what they term as the human error, which is the #1 reason for flight crashes in the world. But it's actually not very difficult to forge documents on blockchain, and this can actually cause more friction and more problems than there would have been if you just used a traditional database. And that's the whole thing with 2017. Blockchain became a buzzword. There was companies on the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange putting blockchain in their name just for the sole purpose of generating hype. There was Long Island Blockchain, for example, which was probably the funniest example I've ever seen. It's a bit of a throwback to the 1990s era internet bubble, where there was a ton of companies putting .com in their name, just for the same reasons that during 2017 and even today, people are putting blockchain in their name. It doesn't actually add anything of value, it's just solely a buzzword. There are lots of benefits that immutability and decentralization provide, but there are tons of drawbacks, and right now, utility on databases just simply isn't feasible. Another big concern I have with this project is there's multiple mentions in their white paper of giant companies. They mention Tesla, they mention Elon Musk, they mention Uber. They talk about flying cars. There's just a lot of hype in their white paper, stuff that's meant to get the retail investor excited, like, ooh, I'm going to be part of the future of flying cars, this, that. I think they actually at one point mentioned collaboration with UberX and SpaceX, which a lot of projects have actually gotten in trouble for falsifying partnerships and relations with companies of which they have none. And that's just a bigger problem for cryptocurrency in general right now, is just the amount of lying and fraud that's going on. As the space matures and regulation ramps up, I'm sure that you'll see less of that, but there's still a ton, and you have to be really, really careful when you're buying into these projects, guys. Aeron got onto Binance before the exchange blew up. I think it got listed last year in November, which was right around the time that everyone started moving to Binance because of its convenience and ease of use. And my point there is that most of the tokens today that Binance is listing, they have to pay pretty high trading fees, and the review process is pretty strict. So when a token gets listed on Binance, most of the time the project is probably pretty sound, even though, again guys, do your own research into everything you do. But having a Binance listing certainly adds an air of legitimacy to the project. But with that being said, before Binance blew up, there are a ton of tokens from that time that are just kind of weird with low volume and certainly aren't as impressive or reliable as the listings that came later. And the biggest example of that is Centra, that was supposed to be similar to 10x or Monaco. It was maybe your debit and credit card linked to crypto, which is kind of a cool use case if it can never get implemented. But the people behind Centra misappropriated the funds from the ICO, and it was enough of an obvious scam that the SEC looked into them. And I think the people involved are actually facing trial right now. And I just brought that up to sort of reinforce my point of being careful with the early tokens that listed on Binance. That being said, it has impressively high volume for a coin of its ranking. I think on CoinMarketCap, its current ranking is around 450 with a market cap of 8.5 million, but the daily volume on it is around $9 to $10 million, which to me kind of gives me a hint of manipulation going on there. I look at the project, I look at their Telegram, I look at their GitHub, I look at the Reddit, there's really not a lot going on, and the fact that the volume is just so high just kind of scares me a bit. Wash trading is very common in cryptocurrencies, and people will use it to sort of create high volume around projects to add an air of legitimacy. But don't be fooled, guys. That false liquidity is just used to fill orders quick so that they can take your Bitcoin or Ethereum. And having mentioned Centra and talking about Aeron, I just want to reiterate the bigger point of all this, which is something I've said before, which is just you have to be extremely careful when investing into any cryptocurrency, but especially the ones that arose during 2017, early 2018. And that's because with the media and all the hype around cryptocurrency, there was a ton of opportunities that came to the space just to make a quick buck. I'm not saying that was all tokens, but there was just a ton of tokens during 2017 that just clearly had no utility and were just so stupid. So just be really careful when you're investing into tokens from that time. Another point from their white paper that I really don't like is the amount of money that they're spending on marketing. Marketing is super important in that getting your brand out there and creating brand awareness is obviously a great thing, but allocating 30% of your fund's budget to marketing and promotion just to me is not putting enough money into R&D or even just the underlying technology. Cryptocurrency is a huge industry and it's very new. Coding on Solidity is very difficult, and you need to get the best and the brightest in there. Putting that much money into marketing and promotion behind a company that has no real partnerships yet, I just don't like it. And bringing that up, I just noticed there's a typo right here with lobbying with authorities. So I'm not saying that people don't make mistakes, but for a professional white paper to have that big of a typo in that bold of text, that's a little concerning. I'm being serious, guys. I did not notice that until I was just looking at it right now. Jesus Christ. Overall, in my summary, I would just say that I think Aeron is a perfect example of why everything doesn't need to be decentralized and why everything doesn't have to be on blockchain. We might get there eventually where the efficiency of these protocols will incentivize large data to adopt them, but right now, there's just no utility for it. Just to me, there's way too many red flags. My overall rating with Aeron would have to be, and I know this is harsh, a 1 out of 10. And I'm only giving it a 1 because their logo is kind of sexy and I like the name. But other than that, there's nothing going for it, guys. I would stay far away. When investing into ERC20 tokens, guys, be really careful. Remember, anyone can make a token and make it sound sexy enough with good marketing. Stay safe and invest wisely, guys. Have a good one.